Tuperos y tuperas, today on DOOP by the River, we're going to give you the Clearwater update. What is going on down in Clearwater, Florida with our Philadelphia Union? Ladies and gentlemen, the Philadelphia Union have made another signing. Yes, it finally has happened today. A lot of you have been waiting for it, clamoring hard for it. We got another signing. We'll dive deep into that. We're going to talk about some other news and notes with the Philadelphia Union. We have a special guest with a very special message. You do not want to miss that. And don't anywhere, ladies and gentlemen, because you do not want to miss this episode of DOOP by the River. And let's get started. Hey, go! That is right. Welcome everyone to DOOP by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union, brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Before we move forward, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. If you are tuning in live, whether you're coming from YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, thank you so much. It truly means the world. Please do not forget to hit the like button, subscribe on YouTube. If you're watching on El Parcero Philly's YouTube channel, make sure to follow on the DOOP by the River podcast Twitter account. And of course, we're gonna start getting into some Twitch stuff. I got my man Justin here today. Justin, I'm gonna definitely start getting into some Twitch stuff, but definitely, guys, make sure to subscribe to Twitch on as well. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys already know I am joined by my man, Mr. Paxton Baldinson, or Baldinson. But wait, Baldinson. I like it. Justin, what's going on, man? How you doing?
It's again, as I say every week, it's another great day to be recording some DOOP by the River.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a fun one. We gotta obviously, as you know, man, we got a really special guest, which I'm really happy to talk to. Look, Justin, we really pride ourselves here, not just being, your place for Philadelphia Union, your place for soccer, MLS, and all that, but we would like to touch upon some real life things, and it's about helping the community. Our community is everything, Justin, and I think that's really what's going to hit this episode close to home. So I'm really excited as we got some more great listeners. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. What is going on, everyone? So to start off today, obviously, we want to give everyone the Clearwater update, everything that's going on down in Florida with our Philadelphia Union. They are getting ready for a new season with a lot of challenges this year, as we all know, a lot more competition. When you win the MLS, there's more games, there's more pressure, there's more games you got to play. All eyes are on the Philadelphia Union as they are the reigning Supporters Shield winners. And right now in Clearwater with the preseason, it's not going the way the Philadelphia Union may have wanted, but for the Union, it's about just getting their legs under them after being off for a little bit now. But two games, 2 losses. The Union faced off against Orlando and Chicago, which I believe we briefly talked about the Orlando on last week. They've been staggering these games a little farther than usual, but both 1-0 losses for the Philadelphia Union. In this Chicago one, did you get a chance to watch that live stream there, Justin?
No, I was actually at the live. I was at the trash pickup the Sons of Men were doing with our special guest in North Philly, and by the time I got back, after I brought baby Kyle over,
Hey.
and picking up trash with our friend Matt and Heather and Adam. And as if anyone saw my Facebook or Twitter, you saw Adam and me shaking our booties while picking up some trash. Adam may or may not be roping me into being a capo in training. I made the mistake of showing off some of my moves in front of Adam, so that was a definite mistake. I think I signed up for a bargain for more than I can bargain for, but we'll see. So by the time I got back, I think I didn't get back home till like at least 4 o'clock, and then before I even sat down or took a shower, I took the dog for a walk. I did some stuff around the house. By the time I even sat down, it was close to 5, and I looked and I was like, oh, it was like a late. I was like, it. And then I caught some of the comments people were saying again, Jack DeVries was looking good. The concern was El Brujo, which thank God, no break, no tear. They said a week to 1 to 2 weeks, which puts us up right against the first leg of the CCL, but
Right. It
that's
was a
better.
sprain, right? That's what they called it. It was an ankle
I
sprain.
think it's kind of what they called it. It was one of those, like, Jim said it was the best news they could hope for because
Right.
the way he came off the field, he couldn't put much weight on it, and that's always concerning. But again, 2-1 nothing losses. I'm not overly concerned because it's been 0-0 at the end of both first halves, which has in the first half has been mostly their starting or a starting lineup or what you would consider a starting lineup.
Right.
So the second half, the fact again that both goals have been scored in the second half, I'm not surprised given that usually at the halftime of these preseason games you're making wholesale changes.
Right.
So it's again, yeah, you lose 1-0 in both games, but it's preseason. You're still getting your legs out from under you. You've got, I believe, you've got a game tomorrow, and then they come home, and then you've got a closed door match against apparently DC United is what I was hearing the reports, and then obviously the following week you then have CCL. So I think they're going to start to kind of get into. I mean, it's crazy to think that a few weeks from now we'll be previewing Union facing off the first leg against the Aprisa. So it'll be interesting.
Isn't that crazy? That's crazy.
Definitely wild.
Absolutely. No, we're like literally almost there. It's definitely crazy to think about. I mean, like, the results are one thing, and I feel like, once the Unions start getting, once they get games under their feet, they'll be fine. My concern, obviously, is the injury bug said hello to the Philadelphia Union down in Clearwater. We were fine last year, with our health, and we were already starting off early, and a lot of critical pieces on the Union attack have been hit by that injury bug. We just mentioned Ed Brugel.
Critical pieces, but the entire striker core.
I know.
You have Casper day to day. You have Sergio. Now it's been a week or two, but you have Sergio out 3 to 4 weeks. You have Corey with apparent groin injury. We don't know the timeline on that. We have Ilsinho with a minor, I believe, hip injury. I mean, right there, unless you're including Jack DeVries, that's all of your strikers. And now I know it's early, I know, but it's not exactly the way you want to start the preseason. And Johnny, I got to ask, did we replace the entire Union medical staff with the Eagles medical staff and no one told us? Because something feels fishy here. Like, this is something that the Eagles would have a problem with.
Right.
Not really the Union, at least not in my recent memory can I think of a time where they've had this many injuries to their attacking players.
I mean, it's definitely something in the water in Philadelphia, honestly, and
that clear water is a problem.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Sixers had to deal with it for a while too. There was a time where I believe there was a 5 or 6 year stretch where their number one pick would sit out the first year, from Nerlens all the way till Fultz, I believe, or Zaire Smith, I should say. But no, it sucks, and it sucks that's happening right now only because the Union. Like, listen, the season started for the Union. The season has started. Everything is going to go by really quickly, and the Union need to get ready for this season. And for these injuries to happen right now is kind of at the worst place in the scenario. But like, I feel like that's so Union. Like, they're going to go through all these injuries, but they'll get everyone back. Like, we'll have the starting lineup back, and they'll give Saprissa everything Saprissa can handle. And somehow, I'm not going to jinx it, but we'll see what happens when that time comes. But I feel like this is definitely so Union. As more people are, hey, what's going on? Our honorary Japanese Union fan, what is going on?
Man, that's why I love Dan. That's Scientology Wooder. Yeah, that's
See, I want to talk to Dan. I want to get Dan on the show. I want to see if I'm sure he watched the 2018 World Cup first game, Colombia and Japan. that game, literally, I felt hungover watching that game. That was it was a 6 o'clock in the morning game, and I thought this was Colombia's year. We're gonna go all the way to the World Cup final, and boom, the first game, Japan just hits us. There was it was just crazy. It was a 2-1 loss that I can't believe that happened.
Hey, if he wants to, I'm sure. The shithousery of that game. Yeah, Dan, we could. I think we could get Dan on.
Well, Dan, we'll have to set something up, my man. We'll definitely
have to set something up. But yeah, no, it's boy, it.
So let me ask you though, Justin. So what's your we're getting closer to the time, to CONCACAF, but believe we're now 2 weeks away, less than 2 weeks away. How do you feel at this moment right now, heading into that first leg game?
I'm still gonna say pleasant. I'm gonna say with some mild confidence. I think the injury bug does scare me a little bit. But I mean, again, okay, yeah, we're missing. We lost Brendan and Mark, but I mean, we still have all the other key pieces. I know that okay, Ray's down, but we have Bizo and Harriel. We still have Kai and Real on the other side. You now have Glasnost and Elliott for the time being as probably your top pairing until Finley comes to this country, which he's currently stuck in Poland. Whenever that happens, whenever he comes over, he'll be that that rotated in third center back. Okay, you might not have El Brujo, but you have Cole Turner, you have Brendan Craig, you have Quinn Sullivan, you have Matej Oravets. You have a ton of guys in that defensive mid position. You have Montero, you still have Ali, you have Paxton, you have McGlynn, you have most likely, a Fontana at your 10, which based on what Jim's saying, that's his role. I mean, we did the same thing with Brendan back in 2019, and look how he turned out. So I have no problem, especially, okay, we didn't sign a goal scoring number 10, but Fontana is that goal scoring number 10. Brendan was more of a facilitator, where Fontana is, okay, he can make those passes, but he's going to shoot first. And then, okay, if there's a good pass, he'll lay it off. So again, now the strikers, Sergio, that injury bug has bitten Sergio a lot over the last few years. When he stayed healthy, he's been good. Casper, outside of that injury bug, a few years back, he's been pretty.
I mean, we got him for free because of his injuries.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's the thing. That's basically why we got him for free. Yeah. But outside of that, he's been pretty good. Yeah. Corey's been pretty healthy. Normally, we haven't usually had too many issues with him. Again, DeVries didn't really get used much last year, so I'm sure his legs are going to be pretty fresh.
Oh yeah.
You could always use McGlynn or Paxton as another like a false 9.
Play the kids.
Exactly. Like this is the year that like these kids, as Dan said, these shithousery that these kids are going to bring. When you have all these young kids, you have all that energy. It works perfectly in a to quote, the Germans, Gegenpressing. That's essentially what the Union do. Right. It's that pressing system, that high energy pressing system. Now, it's not like, the Red Bull where it's like, run. And then, you see in the New York Red Bull in the second half, they'd get tired, and then you'd see the team pounce on them. The Union stagger their press, and it's high energy, but you would see, Brendan in the 75th minute keep running. Like, you still have the guys that still had the legs.
And he loves it.
And then it's like, you have that ability to keep, using these guys and to keep, on and on and on. And that's what I like. Like, that's why I said mild confidence, because, okay, we have some injuries. But given the status of this roster, okay, there's still going to be a big question mark as, okay, who's bringing that attacking spark? But at the same time, it's like, I really think let's see how these young kids will do. Like, isn't that the whole point? We can't go from play the kids last year to, oh, we got to have all these DP signings and forget the kids. It's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, give me the Philly athletes, dude.
Yeah, like, okay, yeah, don't get me wrong. Would I have liked some signings? Yeah. But as I've said, and people did not want to listen. I said, this offseason, this winter was going to be insanely difficult to sign players. Given COVID, given how slow the government's been with processing visas. Are you expecting to get international players over like this? Stuart Finley is stuck in Poland because of how slow things are. Like,
Well, that's a perfect segue, Justin. That's because of those issues, because of those same exact issues, the Philadelphia Union have had a tough time of signing players. It's been the flat out reason. But Justin, we got some good news. We had some good news today, at least from we had a what are we calling it? The Tommy Bogart bombs. What are we calling them?
I believe it was I actually think it was a Christian Dyer from MSG.
Oh, okay.
This was his rumor. Nothing officially confirmed, but it's a pretty big rumor. It's gotten some legs. I believe.
I got
Tommy Bogues and Brian Scaretta both jumped on it, and as I always like to say, the rumor has some legs when Tom Bogues gets in on it.
Absolutely. Well, the Philadelphia Union, listen, we were not looking for a Brandon Aronson replacement, but we were looking for a midfielder depth piece, and it looks like the Philadelphia Union, in fact, will go ahead with 20-year-old midfielder from St. Pauli, Leon Fleck. Look, from what I'm seeing, this is obviously not the, I guess, sexy move people were expecting. Like, even he doesn't really have an attacking forward background where I think people were looking for, kind of me as well. But the fact of the matter is, he's an American German, and that means he's gonna have it's gonna be easier for him to come here and play right away than maybe someone from maybe Argentina, Brazil, South America. Maybe something I would have liked, or even like Germany, actually a German or a British or whatnot. But this move makes sense because of the fact that he's obviously comes from Germany. You talked about the Philadelphia Union's mentality and the way we play kind of fits there, and he's very young as well, so the Union could still mold him and develop him. But I'm okay with this move. I'm okay with this move. This isn't the terrible thing. This is the worst thing that the Union could have possibly done. And again, we were just looking for a depth piece. Who knows what could happen with Leon here? But I think this was a good move for the situation that we were dealt with. Justin, what's your thoughts though on this potential signing here for the Union?
So yeah, so when I first heard this, and this came, from Christian Dyer on MSG this morning, like this was a very early in the day rumor, and when these rumors happen, because of how frequent they are, my phone blew up, and the first thing everyone asked me is, who is this kid? Like like my phone it absolutely blew up. So then I took a little bit, and I had, again, I've some Bundesliga 2 games, some of them are on ESPN Plus, so occasionally we get to see them. Leon, so overall this season in all competitions, he's got 12 appearances, 380 minutes, 2 goals. For a defensive mid, that's not bad. The 1 goal he did score in league play was an absolute banger. If you ever see it, look it up. It was a one-time, outside the foot. He absolutely crushed it. And listen, the best thing about him, 1, he's 20 years old. 2, he's German American, born in Humble, Texas. So again, his main position appears to be defensive mid. According to Transfer Market, he can also play left back and left midfield. So this is a big signing in terms of potential. It's a French the Ernst model, very low risk. Because think about it, if this kid doesn't pan out, what is it? If the reported rumor of 250,000 and
that's what you love to see.
True. for his value of $440,000, that's a bit of a steal. At the same time, what do you have to lose? He's a depth. He would be a depth signing if he works out. It's another. Oh my God! Look at what Ernst has found. He can play defensive mid, so you maybe give El Brujo some breaks, but he can also play left mid or left back. So it throws a wrinkle then into, okay, does he potentially get thrown in left back? Does he get thrown in? Do the Union change to a 3-5-2 and you push Kai up the field and you move, Leon back as a left-sided center back? Do you give Jamiro or Ali some breaks and you throw him in as a shuttler? Because of his, ability to apparently play several positions, I think this could be a big signing in terms of helping the Union give players some much needed rest. And we said this last year. Last year, there was a big thing. If Jim was rotating, now some players he didn't rotate, but he rotated a lot of players because he knew there was congestion of games. Well, this year is even more congestion of games. You have CCL, you have the league, you have
a lot of competitions.
You have the the Olympics, you have Gold Cup, you have Nations League, you have qualifying. This year is going to be a jam-packed year, not just for the Union, but for players in general. And we've been saying this. We said this last year, and we'll say it this year. Depth is going to be tested. And listen, yeah, we didn't sign an attacking player. But again, as I said earlier, what did you expect given you're still in a pandemic? I know we talked about, I'm fully vaccinated. Tim got his shot today.
Shots to Tim.
We're more people getting vaccinated. That's all great. But we're still in the middle of the pandemic. We are so close, as I've seen it. We are on the goal line for a tap in. We could still sky the ball over the crossbar. We could pull a Chris Wondolowski if we're not careful with the next few months. But that's the whole point. We're still in a pandemic. There's still some issues going around. And again, the fact that Stuart Finley, who's an official signing, hasn't even made it into the country because of how slow the visa process is, just goes to show you, which, I know we talked about what, according to reports, it seems like, Aurelian Collin has been re-signed, even though it hasn't really been announced. It's why he's with the team, because you needed another center back, but you also needed someone because Finley isn't even in the country yet.
Yeah. To get back to Leon though, I feel like I agree. I think he's going to be kind of like that Swiss Army knife, like you said. He can play left back. He can play CDM. He can play left midfielder. Right. I think that you can see him. We don't know with Orvich. Jim alluded to Orvich today in the presser as well. He's fighting. He's going to try to get some minutes. We'll see what happens there. If not, if Leon can fit there well behind Brujo, fine, put him there. I think personally for me, I like that he can play that role, but having the ability to play as that shuttle midfielder, I would love to see if he can actually play that role, because at that point, then Justin, you would have three central attacking midfielders at that point. You'd have Font, Montero. Remember, guys, 2 years ago, Montero played a good role, a good amount of games at that number 10. He can play that role. And then obviously we have Paxton, who's waiting in the wings. I'm sure he's going to get his minutes later on down the road in the season. But I mean, this is, like you said, this is just a depth move. The situation at hand right now with the Union and just trying to sign players. I'm sure. Listen, I'm sure Leon wasn't the first, the first option for them. I'm sure they had someone in mind. Just the situation at hand, it just didn't work. And look, ladies and gentlemen, I know that there are other instances. I know, we Justin's talked about before Gonzalo Higuain, how he literally didn't have to quarantine the proper days. There's a whole bunch of different politics there. But one thing for sure, unless you are familiar and you're an expert in the American immigration laws, we don't know exactly what's going on and why the Union can't sign players. So my question for you, Justin, for the fans who believe that the Union are, and this is legit what I've seen, they are being incompetent. They're being an incompetent club because they don't want to pay the money for players. What do you believe, or what's your stance on the people who have that belief on our Philadelphia Union?
First, I'm going to preface this with if your kids are listening, you might want to have earmuffs because I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Hold on, I'll wait a second. Okay, kids, earmuffed. All right, good. You know what? Fuck those fans, because you know what? I'm tired of it. I am tired of the constant. Well, we're not signing any attacking players. It's clear that the Union's front office is so incompetent. Meanwhile, these players, these people were praising Ernst last year for selling Mark and selling Brendan and getting El Brujo and winning the Shield, and all of a sudden now these fans turned on them it's incredible. It blows my mind that they have jumped on every comment. I was literally talking about this with Matt and Adam on Saturday at the trash pickup, that I was joking with them how people jumped. They had Carl Mandel, who runs, who does all the media stuff for the Union, and Carl made an offhanded comment as a joke that the cost of the new video board was like 2 DPs or whatever. And people were like, oh, they spent all this money on a video board and not players. What is wrong with this team? And I laughed at Matt and said, do people actually think that that the money that they gave Carl to then go buy the video board and all that all stuff takes away from the transfer budget? Like, they don't understand how resources are allocated. And it made me laugh because I don't understand these. These are the same people that said curtain out. That, listen, obviously I want my team to get better every year, but given the situation, given that you sold 2 good players, and given the fact that you're still in the middle of a pandemic, this year was going to be challenging. Last year was challenging, and this year is going to be just as challenging, if not more challenging, because half the year is still going to be the same pandemic, and half the year is going to be when stuff really starts to open up more. So to these people, Johnny, I've seen the comments. I've seen what you've retweeted. I've seen what other people have gotten. It takes me so much not to post from either one of our accounts.
Oh man, it's all fun.
And go because I'm gonna get into a conversation that I don't want to start because it's frustrating. These people, listen, am I oblivious to these things? No. Am I gonna say, oh, this team's gonna be great, we're gonna win the Shield? No, I'm not stupid. But I understand. But am I trying to give Ernst the benefit of the doubt, given how insanely difficult it is going to be to sign players, at least until the summer? And that's why the window has been extended. The windows have been open more for the transfer market. It's going to be a very difficult season to sign players, at least until the summer. So again, given Ernst's track record, and I've said this multiple times over the last few months, I'm giving Ernst the benefit of the doubt because he's earned it. And if there's people who are already jumping down his throat, it's like, what is wrong with you people? Flat out, what is wrong with you people?
Listen, Justin, you know me very well. I am very proud to be being a Philly sports fan. I say that with pride. But however, I am not naive. I know how this city works when it comes to sports. Sometimes we could be a little naive. Sometimes we could be a little brash. And it's crazy because as much as some people like to exclude the Union from the sports in Philadelphia, listen, Union fans are just like other Philly sports fans. You have your optimistic, your loving Philly sports fans. Union fans, and you have the crazy, outlandish, Negadelphian Union fans, just like every other fan base in Philadelphia. But the fact is, when I look at the Union, I look at it with the whole landscape of the sports in the city. And me personally, as someone who's invested very much into these sports, when I look at the Union, Justin, to me, they have the second best situation in Philadelphia behind the Sixers. So why would I, especially after the year they just gave me that? Listen, the New England loss, it is what it is. But I saw a fucking trophy at Subaru Park. Okay? I saw a trophy. I don't care if it was a supporter shield. It is a trophy that the Union hoisted, and it was a moment that I will cherish for the rest of my life. It won't be near as big as the Super Bowl. It won't be anywhere near that. But it's still one of those moments because I saw the Union win their first trophy. And I'm not going to go turn around, especially after the year we just went through as a nation, as civilization with the COVID pandemic. It affected everyone emotionally, physically at times, and obviously financially. Not just for the citizens of Philadelphia, United States, and around the world, but also for the sports teams that we root for. So with between the visa situations, and let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, you could say what you want about the Union. You could say what they made money off of Brendan and Mark. At the end of the day, the Union, Sugarman really doesn't profit that much off the Union. You can say what you want, but I doubt most of these MLS owners are profiting a lot off of these MLS teams. The MLS is not there yet as a league. It is going to be there as a league, but it is not there yet as a league. So, guys, all I'm trying to say, look, I want them to sign that next Joseph Martinez, Raul Ruiz. You guys heard me on this podcast say that. That is my goal. That is my dream for them to sign that killer striker. But that's not they can't do that right now, and I'm okay with that because I still think, despite losing two key pieces, this is still a pretty good damn team that the Union are still going to put out there, barring obviously any injury. Clearly we're seeing that might be a factor later on in the season, but still. Right now, currently, Justin, I feel good with the Union. Why would I stress with all the issues going on? And look, I'm wearing Flyer stuff. I'm going through it right now. If you know what's going on with the Flyers, I'm freaking going through it right now. So why would I turn around and freak out over the Philadelphia when their situation is 10 times better? What the hell is going on with the Philadelphia Flyers? So my message, just breathe, relax, sit back, and wait for the season. Once the season happens, then whatever. If you really want to freak out, go ahead and freak out. But the situation with the Union is not as bad as people make it out to be. It is what it is, man. Just like that. Listen, just the last 5 minutes, I feel like is top 10 DOOP By The River. When we do like the 5-year anniversary show, this is gonna be on that.
This will be the highlight reel, compilation of me freaking out. I'm sure the future curse words that I'll drop because so when I've had enough, I lose it. My minute rants on various topics there'll be the sizzle reel of me just losing my shit. And
you know what? I want to say shouts to Man on Twitter for putting the facts out for some of these fans out there. Statistically, if you look at the signings in the MLS internationally, they've been down. It historically been down, and that's for a reason. Okay, they literally did the research for us. So this is league wide. It's not just a Philly thing, but it does it does kind of feel like it sometimes because obviously we just dealt with it with Corey Burke. So I don't know if it's just like a Philly thing. I don't know. We can't even speculate on that because I doubt many diehard Union fans are really familiar with immigration laws in America. So. It was.
I don't think there's too many immigration lawyers in the Union fandom. If they are, please reach out to us and help us to understand what the bureaucracy is and why it's so slow. Because I understand it from an accounting perspective, why the government could be slow, but from a law perspective, I've never understood why it could be so slow.
I mean, it goes beyond me for sure, man. Absolutely. Whew, man, now that we ranted a little bit here on DOOP By The River, another tidbit I wanted to mention here tonight with the Union, Justin, we had some call ups, man. Olivier Mbaizo and Jamiro Monteiro both have been called up by their respective countries. Obviously, Mbaizo called up by Cameroon, and Jamiro called up by Cape Verde. Those do you did you say you had the dates on those call-ups? Or when that break will be?
Well, so the international break is going on right now.
So they're there. Like, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, because like the U.S. like the senior team faces Jamaica on Thursday and Northern Ireland on Sunday. So like basically it's I think in the next week, which is why I think they were saying that it's unlikely that Jamiro is going to need to quarantine. I forget I don't know if it's the same situation where they're going to fly him back the way they did last year.
Right.
So I'm not exactly. I don't know the specific details, but that's my understanding of it. That the games are this week, and then they'll be back for next week.
Okay. So okay. Well, so it's not. I mean, look. Obviously, when it comes to call-ups like that, I mean, I'm always happy to see those guys, getting that call up. But obviously, like we remember earlier this year, I feel like we had like 4 or 5 episodes where we followed it on DOOP By The River, like the saga with Brujo Martinez. So I mean, obviously you're just hoping, making sure that Jamiro obviously and Mbaizo now, because obviously we don't have Ray Gaddis, which Jim alluded to as well today in the presser. Not having a healthy Ray Gaddis out there, that's really going to be huge. Like that was someone that Jim could always rely on every single game, essentially. And so Mbaizo is going to go out to camp and participate with Cameroon as well. So these are definitely it's just a little worrisome with the times that we are definitely living in right now, man.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, these international call-ups suck given this time, but you can't stop the guys from going up, and why would you? It's you don't always get called up to your national teams, so.
That's right. That's absolutely. So what's going on with the U.S., man? How are you feeling about them with in this break here?
So I am feeling pretty good about the U23, the Olympic qualifiers. They won their first 2 games. They beat Costa Rica 1-0, and they beat the Dominican Republic 4-0. So this final game in the group stage against Mexico is really just for seeding, because the top 2 make it. And so the last game is not really as big of a deal, because then the top 2 teams from both groups. So in the U.S. group, it would be U.S. and Mexico. And in Group B, it would be most likely Canada and Honduras. So it seems like Canada is going to finish first in their group. So if the U.S. finishes second, they'll face Canada. And if they finish first, they'll face Honduras. Now, the group stage is really just for seeding. And the game that matters is the first game in the knockout round. You win the first game, you make it to the Olympics. The final is just kind of whatever. So the first game is really what matters. So I'm sure I would like to probably face Honduras more than I would Canada, given some of the young MLS players on the Canada roster. But hey, who knows? I'm feeling pretty good about them. The senior team has a friendly on Thursday against Jamaica and a friendly on Sunday against Northern Ireland. I'm hoping Brendan at least gets in one of those. Based on my understanding, it feels like he could. I'm not 100% sure. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how that roster is put together, at least for Thursday. Because Thursday's game is at 2:00, which I thought seemed like a weird time to have a friendly, but we'll see. It's gonna be an interesting set of games, but I'm looking forward to it. Hey, more soccer for me is not a bad thing.
Definitely not. You can't complain off of too much soccer for sure, man. Awesome. Hey, a lot of, we'll be checking in on the U.S. men's national team for sure. Well, Justin, listen, to kind of segue in, today, guys, is going to be a special DOOP By The River episode as well. Listen, we do pride ourselves in not just being a soccer show. Obviously, we follow the Philadelphia Union. Obviously, we like to be a place for a lot of the new soccer fans to come and kind of learn about the sport and whatnot. But we also like to touch upon real life things that are going on around our community, around our city of Philadelphia or Delaware Valley, Montgomery County, Bucks County, South Jersey, Delaware, wherever you are at. We're all part of this Delaware Valley community here. And it's crazy. Obviously, one of our supporters, someone who follows this podcast thoroughly, Gigio, he put out a post the other day that really made me upset. As someone who's really proud of being from Philadelphia, him obviously having businesses in Center City and living in the city, posting pictures of just the city, of how what's been going on, the litter that's been going on throughout the city. People just thinking like the streets of Philadelphia is literally their trash cans. Well, today, guys, we kind of have a really special guest who's, kind of going to talk to us about, a lot what's going on around the area. And he's doing something really special, and he's really giving back to the community. And it's like, we need people like him. So without further ado, yes, this is his name. And it's a dope name, nonetheless. I'm introducing you to you guys. Your fave trash man. What is going on?
Hey!
I need my own show, man. I love it.
What's up?
How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Just, living life and, trying to succeed at it.
Absolutely. So should we go by Terrell or your fave trash man?
Whichever's easier for you. I'm both.
That sounds good. Same way. I'm Parcero Philly, but you can call me John or Parcero Philly, especially if we get to know each other one-on-one. Definitely,
my friends call me your fave. So
your fave. I like that. I like that. Absolutely. So, first off, I think everyone has the question here. Who's your fave trash man? Who the hell are you? So kind of, Terrell, just tell people kind of like, what it is that you do as far as the whole your fave trash man movement here, and kind of how'd you got into it as well.
Sure. So your fave trash man is my Instagram handle. On the height of the pandemic, in the middle of the summer last year, I started this Instagram to shed a light and give an inside scoop on what it is to be a sanitation worker here in Philadelphia.
Okay.
I didn't know that it was going to grow this big. I didn't know that I was going to have this platform, but as it grew, excuse me, I used it to, try to bridge a gap between the, residents and the sanitation department to get through the pandemic together. A lot of articles were coming out that, we had trash delays in Philly that were like 4 to 5 days behind, so, it was mountains of trash, and articles were coming out. It's the sanitation workers. They're lazy. They're taking off. They're using sick pay for no reason. And they didn't understand that over 200 of us had tested positive or were quarantining. So the delay was just because we were fighting COVID along with the city. And I was just like, they must think we're robots or something picking up the trash. We're actually human beings who are sons, fathers, daughters, uncles, aunts, brothers, sisters, nephews. We're dealing with life just like everybody else. And we need a little grace and understanding. And Philadelphia, you don't put your trash out correctly. So let's all work together. So I started using the Instagram to teach people how to put their trash out and ask for grace and understanding and show love to your sanitation worker. And then I did a t-shirt campaign. And, I'm 31 years old, but I live my life like a 90-year-old, So I was just like, old school t-shirt, let's sell some t-shirts and raise money for PPE and cleaning supplies. Because if we had PPE and cleaning supplies, we would cut down on how fast and how quickly COVID was spreading through the department. It was 4 weeks. I said, guys, I don't care what I raise. I just want to sell 2,000 t-shirts. So I ended up selling 2,022 t-shirts and raising over $32,000 to buy PPE and cleaning supplies.
That's awesome.
As the campaign was going, I was on the cover of the Enquirer, Channel 3, Channel 2, Fox, WHYY, Billy Penn. Technically did an article on me, and I'm just like, what? They're like, well, you're the first person we've ever seen use social media for a grassroots movement. I was like, hey, whatever. Did you buy a t-shirt? And then a writer, a reporter from North Philly. I love her to death. Her name is Abigail Cruz. She writes nationally for Good Morning America. So she did an article on me. The article dropped at 9. By 4 p.m., David Muir was calling me. It's like, hey, you want to be on the show tonight? I'm like, who the heck says no to David Muir? Like,
nobody. That's it.
No one. I was like, yeah, I'll be on the show. So they was like, yeah, we need you to drive around and take videos and this, and we need it in the next 20 minutes. I'm like, I will do my best. And then like 3 or 4 weeks later, the Kelly Clarkson show called, and I was on the Kelly.
Yo, that's awesome.
And then within that, I learned that, you know, something like this was needed now. So October 10th, I did my first food drive. I ended up feeding 1,500 frontline workers. I linked up with Sharon Access. And then from there, I was like, I found out that we were voted the dirtiest city in America by Forbes. So I started the neighborhood cleanups, but with the intention of using elected officials to help push the agenda and to help shine a light that this is an issue. And it's only going to get solved if we have elected officials help us. So then, you know, that's when I started building my political power. And now, you know, I'm at a rally for teachers at the school district. And Hella Jen's like, hey, your fave trash man. I'm like, me? You know me? You talking to me? You know, like, oh okay. Hey, Councilwoman.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, yeah, so now I turn around. I'm over 24,000 followers. Got the blue check mark, and
hey,
I mean, I don't work for the sanitation department anymore. I'm still a sanitation worker. It's just instead of the city being my employer, community is. So, yeah,
I love it, man.
And that's
love that.
That's where I met your co-host at, man.
Yes, sir.
Listen, I hope this doesn't come off, you know, negative, but for a bald white guy, this guy got some dance moves. Okay. Okay. Yes. Listen, I got DMs about him. And people were like, whoever the bald guy that was shaking at his ass the whole time, can you make sure he's at all the cleanups? And I was like, hey, when I talk to him tonight, I'll see what I can do.
Of course, you know, I was telling Johnny, I said, yes, Terrell and I said that there's some music going, and we were like, we did, you know, we cleaned up that street corner, and there was a lot of trash. I mean,
do you want the numbers? I got the numbers today.
Yeah, really? I was gonna say, because we filled 2 trash trucks, and then we had all that trash that we were able to put
all together. We cleaned 40 tons of trash on Saturday.
Oh my word. Johnny, when I say those trucks were full, like those trucks were packed to the gills, and then we put an additional.
You guys in Chester?
No, so we were actually at the corner of Iva and Butler. So right off of the Betsy Ross. Just because like North Philly, it's at Port Richmond. But it was, I mean, it wasn't just the Sons of Ben. We had several other groups with us, and I would say more hands made things a lot easier. Everyone was helping each other out. People were, again, it was a great vibes. People were dancing. We were having a blast. And we were doing good. And that was the biggest thing. We were doing a lot of good, but it didn't feel like a chore, because it was like, you know, this is our neighborhood too. Like, we're all members of the Philly area, of the tri-state area. We should act like it. And it was when I heard about everything, I was like, okay. I brought our friend Kyle, and I'm like, oh, it's be interesting. And again, I had never heard of. Everyone says, oh yeah, your fave trash man, and I'm going, who? Like, that's me. You know, even though I have a Facebook and Instagram, a Twitter, I'm not very much on the trend. So I'm going, our friends are going, you know, oh yeah, it's gonna be music. There's gonna be, the trash pickup, and yeah, all of a sudden, I'm, of course, with our friend, our friends of the Sons of Ben pod, Matt and Adam, and yeah, Adam and I were picking up trash and shaking our booties, and yeah, Terrell.
I know Adam likes to dance.
I think I've been dancing for like a minute straight, and Terrell looks over at me and goes, "Oh, why'd you stop?" And I'm going, I think I woke up at like 6:30 in the morning. I'm like, I'm exhausted. Maybe dancing a little bit. But yeah, there was a few people who after I posted my video were like, I didn't know you could dance. I'm like, I wouldn't say I'm a great dancer, but you know what?
I got the move for you. I got a little bit up under my sleeves now.
I'm gonna have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, hey, listen, Johnny. If we need more followers, I'm always up to shake my derriere. Who knows? Hey, if it gets people to come pick up trash or whatever it is, whatever cause it is, I'll shake my behind.
Yeah, it was, and that's the whole idea behind my cleanups. I've been to a lot of cleanups and never had DJ. I usually wear earphones because music isn't. So I was like, you know what? T-Mobile is my corporate sponsor. They was like, well, what do you need from us? I was like, can you pay for a DJ? And after our first one, we got such a huge response. Their marketing director was like, listen, you have us for the rest of the year. Whenever you need a DJ, you just call us. You don't hire nobody else. I said, T-Mobile, if that's what you want to do, fine by me. And literally every time, it could be Thursday, and I'll tell them I have a cleanup on Saturday. They will make sure a DJ is there.
I love it. That's awesome. No, I love like the message you definitely are putting out. And for me, one thing I always tell people is, sometimes put yourself in other people's shoes. You were saying how like you kind of started because you wanted people to see, what was going on, on the other side. Because obviously, not a lot of people have worked in sanitation. People don't really know exactly what's going on. And you're telling that story and you're giving people, what they need to know. Like, this is what's going on. And I think people need to sometimes just realize, the other day I was at, on a weekend, Saturday night, work was done, wanted to get a drink, ran to the liquor store. And we're still going through COVID. You get people who you get a little frustrated. Their patience, their patience, runs a little slim. And unfortunately, the person in front of me in line, got into a little bit with the cashier, and it's just like you don't realize like what's going on right now. Like it's hard as it is, living life through through this pandemic. And for you to just freak out, you like kind of have to put yourself in their shoes and understand what it is that's going on. And I appreciate that you're putting that out there. And obviously, littering, it has some consequences. It really does. And I really don't think people understand that. And, it's a pride thing. Like, these are our neighborhoods. Like, this is our homes. Like, have some pride in it as well.
And literally, that's the main thing. You raise the standard in a community, you then can address some of the other things, the gun violence, the drug use, the food insecurity, the education, because now you've raised the standard in the community. We're like, hey, we care about our community. We care about how it looks like. We don't allow the BS in here. You got to come correct. Because that's the difference between some good neighborhoods and some bad neighborhoods. The good neighborhoods, you can't throw stuff on the ground and not get yelled at, cussed out, maybe chased out the neighborhood. But some of the bad neighborhoods, they've lost their oomph. They've lost their fire to care. So then I go into those neighborhoods and I clean it up and ask for nothing. And then I give them food and ask for nothing. Then I have a coat drive and ask for nothing. And the only thing I do is I ask you to care. If I come in here and do this for free and ask for nothing, I just ask that you upkeep it.
Exactly.
And that work, doing that has neighborhoods like, okay, like somebody came and cleaned our whole neighborhood for free and then asked us for nothing. The least we could do is upkeep it so that when I come back, I don't have to go, well, wow, like that's where my efforts went. I did all that, brought DJ out and food and all that stuff, and you let it get back like this. So now whose fault is it really? Because you can't blame your elected official because I cleaned it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like when we showed up, Johnny and Charles, there were not one but two literal boats behind this. Like, and we're looking and we're like, at what point do you not care? Like, there's literally two boats. Like, okay, they're not giant boats, but you can't be sneaky about just dumping a boat. And one of the boats outside of the paint, like outside of some paint, was actually in relatively decent condition, with the engine in the thing, but it looked like it was in mostly one piece. And I'm like it was either boats, tons of trash, or contractors just dumping their stuff behind this area, and it was like it's clear no one cared about this area. And as soon as we cleaned it all up, we looked across the street. We were sitting. Gigio brought some pizza and Matt had some beers.
Nice.
We were literally sitting across the street after our hard work and went, wow, like, look at how clean that lot looks. Look at how
looks even better now. Flip came in with the front loader and got all of everything we left on the side.
That's what's
exactly
up.
Like it made me feel proud just to say, hey, I helped to clean this up, and I helped to make this street corner look a bit nicer.
Yeah.
And all it takes is just a little teamwork and care, Yeah, absolutely. Well, you Fave, listen, we love what you're doing, but listen, we are a soccer podcast, and we brought you on here to pick your brain a little bit as well. So before we do get started with that. Are you a sports fan?
I'm a huge sports fan.
Okay.
I mean, and not just, the regular sports, basketball, baseball, and football. I played tennis in college.
Nice.
I started playing golf in middle school.
Cool.
I tried to play soccer as a kid.
And what happened?
Well, funny story. I was like 6 or 7, and I was, trying to defend this kid, and he took like a big swing back and went to kick the ball, but he kicked the wrong ball.
Yeah.
And that is where my soccer career ended.
That would end in my career too. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I would say that would end my career, but I've taken a lot more harder hits and injuries.
Nope, that was it for me. I literally, at that moment, when I got myself together, I walked off the field, I grabbed my stuff. In the middle of the game, my mom was like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "We're going home.
That's it. We're done.
I'm done with this."
I love it. So what else do you know about soccer? What are some of the things you do know about the sport?
I know the Philadelphia Union won.
Hey, okay.
They won something, like a championship or something, right?
We won the Supporter Shield. It's the trophy awarded to the first overall place team in the league at the end of the regular season. But it's so very important. Listen, we cherish, Justin and I cherish that moment as Union fans. We cherish that moment. We'll cherish that for the rest of our lives because it was the first trophy. But no, definitely. So, for you, you live in the city. You know how the city works when it comes to sports. It's always
for sure.
Eagles until, the Sixers, Phillies, Flyers, one of them wins. So, in your mind, what does the Union need to do in order to get in that conversation? That's kind of our mission here is obviously we want to be, a big enough Union podcast, but we also want that team to be involved in the city. So what do you think that needs to happen for that to happen?
Honestly, you guys, I knew about the Union before, even meeting Sons of Bench and stuff. Like, I've heard of the Union. That's how I knew you guys won something. It's kind of like what I try to do with sanitation. You just got to shift the perspective. You just got to get people. I can't wait to come to a game. I've never been to a professional game.
Oh, we'll definitely take you out there, man.
Yeah, but I think once I go, it might change my perspective. You just got to get people out there. You guys are in Chester. It's not that far of a drive,
No.
But maybe, I don't know, like something like they do with the tennis is they have an exhibition and they invite all the kids from all across the country to come to New York for the U.S. Open and watch, stars play an exhibition. And that's like how I took some of my friends, and then they wanted to play tennis just by going, So I don't know if that would be something. Just reach out to all these organizations that are resources for kids and be like, hey, we're having have an exhibition, have a clinic. I'm not going to go because I've already know what it feels like to be kicked, so I'm okay. I would bring my kids. If you guys had something for the kids, I would definitely bring after COVID. I would definitely bring my kids. It's a professional team. So, but yeah, and I think what you guys are doing now with the podcast, and I'll definitely post the podcast, and people can start to listen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you said you were big on Instagram. Where can people actually find that Instagram and all the other socials that you are active in?
Yeah, so everything is your fave trash man. So on Instagram, it's @_YAFAV trash man. Your fave trash man. Literally everything else. Your favetrashman.com, your Twitter, your fave trash man, Facebook, your fave trash man. And now dropping yesterday was my first podcast.
Yes, let's go.
It's called Essential Talks, where I talk to people about everything that I find essential, and I talk to people that may not feel like they're essential, but I think they are. So it's on Spotify, it's on Anchor.fm, and it's a YouTube channel, and everything is Essential Talks or your fave trash man. And my first episode was with somebody I call my dance mom, because my background is theater. I started in theater. I've been in theater. Yeah, I've been in theater since I was 3, and I've been classically training in dance since I was 8. So we just talked about why the performing arts are essential to community.
100%, and that's also been taking a hit due to COVID as well.
Yeah, we talked about how it's the first thing cut from a budget. It's the last thing funded. So, and my dance mom's pretty dope. She has her master's in dance from NYU. So she came with all the numbers and the analytics and the perspective. So it was a dope conversation. It felt good. It felt natural. And I record on Wednesdays and I drop every other Wednesday. So tomorrow I'll be talking to a UFC fighter.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, her name is Bad Mama. She lives right here in Philly.
Love the name.
I like that.
Yeah, you guys should look her up.
Well, I'll tell you what, you Fave. Listen, whenever you're ready to attack the soccer situation in Philadelphia and America in general, you call us, and we would love to hop on your podcast as well, because we appreciate you hopping on, man.
Schedule it. I love to learn.
Absolutely.
The whole thing could be about why these minor sports don't make as much noise as the bigger sports.
And honestly, you couldn't have picked better people, because like, at least for me, soccer, like, I've been around soccer since I was a kid. I've played and watched the sport since I was about 4 years old. My dad played in college. He played in men's leagues. I've played, I'm almost 28 years old. I've played for over 20 years. I live and breathe the sport. And yeah, it's crazy to think. And you talked about like dance, like I did theater as a kid. I did, I was in chorus, and heck, one of the last things I did before COVID, I saw, my favorite musical, Phantom of the Opera, on Broadway.
Oh, dope.
Dope. So like, yeah, like there's, that's what I find interesting about your new podcast. And we did talk about that on Saturday was, yeah, there's a lot of things that people don't seem to find essential, that when you realize that, yeah, the arts are the first thing to cut from a budget. Well, without the arts, you don't have,
this is art right here. This is art right here.
You don't have this. You don't have the MCU. You don't have comic books. You don't have.
We don't have TV. The cameraman is an artist. I'll give you a fun fact. I actually made Spider-Man on Broadway.
Really?
Did you really?
I did.
Wow.
As a dancer. It's when they asked me to sing, and they was like, actually, we'll call you. It was dope. Yep.
We'll definitely have to set something up. Absolutely. Well, listen, listen. I love your energy. I could definitely tell you come from a great place. I could tell you have a great heart. Seriously, keep doing what you're doing. Love to do some more stuff with you. And honestly, I appreciate you hopping on for a little bit and just telling us, kind of what's going on with the city. A lot of people don't realize, the situation at hand, especially, with the sanitation workers and struggles they have to go through. And I really hope nothing but the best for you, man. I thank you so much, man. It really means a lot.
Man, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity. And you got the email. Let's set it up for you guys to come. And I come with perks. So on my podcast, I have a chef there that feeds us. So
okay. I like it. We'll definitely set that up. Absolutely.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good one.
You too.
And
Take
later,
care.
Terrell.
Thank you so much, bro.
Bye.
Say it. Absolutely. Hey, that was a great. And listen, that was a great guest to have on. I mean, you guys heard it all. Make sure you definitely go follow him. What I'll do as well, guys, when this is put up on YouTube, in the description, I will put his socials out there, and where you can find the podcast as well, so you can definitely check it out as well.
And you heard it first. People were DMing him about my dancing. I'm just saying, man. I didn't think. I mean, I just said. People said, "Oh, your dance moves were a little so on the video you posted." And I said, "Yeah, well, there were other moments that people didn't see that I had some damn good moves, and apparently Terrell got those moments. I'm gonna have to take a look back at his IG page because
that's funny.
That's funny. I got people complimenting me on my dance moves. I don't need if I didn't need a bigger ego, I just definitely got one now."
Absolutely. Looks like Justin will be doing TikTok dances with me this summer for at Super Park.
As I said, whatever for a good cause, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Justin, again, man, it's always a pleasure on DOOP By The River Tuesdays recording another episode. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in, whether you're coming from YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, if you're listening to it on any of the streaming sites, Apple, Spotify, Google, thank you so much. It truly means the world to us. We will see you guys again at the same time, same place next week. Until next time, that is Justin Freiberg. I'm El Parcero Philly, and we're telling you guys to DOOP on. Talk to you